Hey, local swell trackers, Thursday the 23rd. Got to get in on March here. This is hindcasting a week ago, the 16th. And you see this big spinner here with a lot of westerly fetch. Well, that's what brought us up here earlier this week and actually last weekend. And this guy occluded. It became vertically stacked from the surface and up to the higher regions and allowed the track to slow down. As these things slow down, they spin and broaden, and that fetch just stayed in place forever. So we had a 1-2 pulse from this guy. A lot of different reports coming in. Spots like Sunset are super special. They'll be 2 feet higher occasionally than the other spots, but we had a ton of waves from this guy, and we got some reinforcement yesterday, Wednesday, for an epic springtime day, and it was from this later phase of the spinner that was just pretty much centered off Kamchatka, the Kurils up here. It was easily 6 feet yesterday, and just absolutely every spot firing with east winds, so it blew offshore. It was like a big playground pool in Mother Ocean. And then today, from again the same guy, it actually, you can see it kind of stays reinforced even on Monday. Well, guess what? We had some reinforcement. It went from 4.5 feet 13 seconds to 5 feet 14 on the buoys today. The reports in the morning at Sunset came in 3 to 5, and my buddy surfer Joe Teipel and Pat Kelly up there on the North Shore, retired captain, told us what was going down. And there were waves easily 6, and even maybe some pluses here at Sunset Beach today. God bless that place. And we are looking at a lot of spots, mostly in that 4, occasional 5-foot range. But what a day. This was the culprit right here. So as it ends its journey, look at this guy coming off here, a winter caliber storm with some super high winds and super high seas, and tracking our way with a partially captured fetch and hitting the dateline here. And this is Thursday the 23rd. Look at that guy. And let me get to the current models and show you. Now, these are the surface winds. What I'm going to jump to right now, I'm going to go to the open ocean or deep water swell heights that this storm produced. Take a look at that. There's some 45-foot seas in this storm, and that is on the 180 dateline right here, which is 1,200 miles away. The closer these big winter caliber storms get to us, the less swell decay time there is on its journey. These swells sort themselves out from the storm center and get organized and clean up. That's why that last one was so good, because the fetch stayed far away, and those lines just broad fetch, broad lines. Well, this guy's going to be blowing that swell away as far as size go. This one's going to get 15 feet on Sunday, building all day Saturday. It's going to be pretty gnarly late Saturday with some long period. 4 feet 20 seconds at sunset can hit 10 feet. Now, that's possible at evening on this Saturday from this guy right here. Okay, we'll click in the animation. You can see now a northeast track as the energy for us fades out. Open ocean swells were produced. I'm going to go back to the surface here and take a look at Thursday the 23rd, and there's the surface winds that produce those huge seas, and then it fades out. But we get another spinner right here off the dateline. That first storm spawned this guy up here, and we are going to get some nice swell from this one. On Wednesday the 29th, we're looking 8 to 12 feet. It stays put. That's going to be another long-lasting event, and hey, look at this. March is not done with us yet, and even into April, this is another storm on its way Tuesday the 28th. Storm force plus winds all the way through Wednesday. Again, a nice easterly track, a nice fetch pointing our way for a decent length of time, and thus another far above advisory level swell for Wednesday the 29th. The surface winds producing the swells. Here's that next one for Wednesday the 31st. And oh, by the way, if I left out Sunday, it could get up to 18 feet or 30-foot faces. Guaranteed 10 to 15, and we'll say at this point 10 to 15 plus, just to be conservative. But it could easily hit 18 feet Hawaiian scale on outer reefs at select moments. Spots like Jaws that spot is like Sunset with the very big swells and could actually get up to 20. The deep water swell will reach at 11 feet at 16 seconds. So that will magnify that swell at least 2.5 times, which would be 30 feet, or what we would call about 18 feet. Continuing on the animations, look at this guy. Not too bad, huh? That's the Wednesday swell. And look at that monster. Again, 45-foot seas, an easterly track. This is the last swell in the forecast, and check this guy out. It's very similar to the one that's creating the warning level swell this Sunday. But this guy is bouncing us up on the 31st. That's Friday the 31st, back to 11 feet 16 seconds. Now, the track was very zonal or west to east, so it's not going to be a super long-lasting event at that size. But we'll have a moment on Friday to, again, 15, possibly 18 feet. It's the exact same period and open ocean swell height as the last one. Not bad for March. We're doing well above averages. And if you add in the in-between swells and this last week, I'm going to put it at the top of the last 5 years for the kickoff of spring. All right, heading to the land down under. Check it out. A counterclockwise spinning high pressure centered right over New Zealand. We don't like this. We like these storms to be able to sneak right up the east coast towards us for those classic south-southwest swells. And right now you can see there's a lot more storm activity as we head into the new season. And you can see there's a very zonal flow. A lot of energy here to the southeast of French Polynesia. Just giant waves off to South America. We will see a slight bump from all these fetches, which is hard to see here. It doesn't look like anything's really pointing to us, but we are able to get some sideband swell from the dispersion of these swell trains. And this weekend we could see some 16-second 1-foot swell, deep water swell at 16 seconds from the south, from what you're looking at here. Continuing on the animations, things start to look good this past Sunday, the 19th. This guy, we had some stronger winds, a little bit more of a northeast tilt, and take a look at those surface winds. That's a long fetch as well, and it continues for quite a while. There we go. This is the last batch. This is Wednesday the 22nd, and models are claiming 2, maybe 2.5 feet, 15 to 16 seconds, and the thing will kick in slowly Wednesday the 29th, and then the 30th, 31st, and into the 1st of April. We should see solid 2 to 3 in town, with the top magnets getting up to probably a foot overhead on this. Nothing to write home about, but it is the first official swell of spring. And take a look at that. So that fetch lasted a long time. This event should last quite a long time as well. Taking a look at the current surface winds, we'll just roll this thing out here for you, and you can take a look at all of that energy. And Tahiti is going to get really good size on this. And look at this swell coming. Now, this guy right here is very zonal, and it passes most of its energy off to the Americas throughout its journey. But there's the real swell for coming up next week. All of this that you're seeing right here, it's long-lasting pulses. And then this guy right here is going to be pumping us up because of those high winds. And again, as I was saying, the swell train spreading out. We're going to see some 20-second forerunners on this guy on about the 4th of April. It's going to stay small, though. The deep water stuff that'll make it up here will be only about a foot. But some spots actually can break pretty good when the periods become that long. There's more refraction. A 20-second period will actually touch the ocean floor 1,000 feet down. Yeah, that's the kind of energy, and they're moving fast, and there's a lot of stuff underneath when you got the periods of this length due to the high winds of the storms, which I'll show you here in a second. Thus, that means by the time it reaches, more shallow water, it really refracts and shoals. Refracting being, a bend, and a shoaling meaning, being pushed up. And that's why these long periods work their magic, including the thing that we're going to see Saturday with some 20-second, 22-second forerunners. Really, at 4 feet of deep water swell, it bounces, especially at sunset. Okay, so we're just bringing us current. Now, these Friday the 24th, the remnant of that guy that's going to be pulsing us up earlier. There's some more follow-up here for Saturday. And Tahiti is going to be cranking. Here's some more coming. Okay, now the swells, the seas, produced by these surface winds we were looking at. There's the storm. You can see a decent tilt. Tahiti going to be catching some of that. There's plenty of energy trying to get up our way from these guys. And here's the last one in the forecast. It's going to be the more significant batch of swell. And there's that one that I was talking about with some 45-foot seas, and this guy is a whomper. I'd be curious as to what that does to the south point of New Zealand, and what that how much of that gets up into the Tasman Sea. That is a beast. And then towards the end, it does start to tilt up, sending big ones to Tahiti and off to the Americas, California, Mexico. For us, however, most of it is passing us by, but not before we see those long period forerunners due to the high winds, high seas. All right, the hand-drawn surface charts. There's the big low, and it's trailing front, bringing us our waves, picking up, especially the second half of Saturday. Look at how tight those isobars are. That's proving that those winds are powerful, and the swell will be as well. Kind of pushing the high off to the east. The ridges about a couple hundred miles north of northwest of Kauai. That's the lighter trade winds and the sea breeze pattern that we've been seeing. It's been a kind of a mix of sea breeze trade wind. Well, this is why. The low pressure weakening the ridge. Now, as this passes off, the trades, well, they're forecasting the trades by Monday to ramp up, but then they're going to be dropping off again thanks to the interaction between the storms, the low pressures, and the highs. All right, taking a look at the jet stream. It's long, it's low, it's consolidated. It reconsolidates over time over the next course of the 7-day forecast, bringing in ongoing winter caliber events. Take a look at that. That's a wintry jet stream if I've ever seen one. And word has it that we could see an El Nino before this year is up. Yep, rare to see the cycle go that fast. And then down under, you can see again this meridional flow or equatorial bound, or if you want to say northeast flow to that jet stream. The jet, large upper air currents, assist in the birth of these surface low pressures and then it helps steer them as well. All part of one system, and we are looking good for both town and country. And we do have some fields of cirrus hanging around off and on. And look at that easterly flow to the low-level clouds. Because that high pressure has been pushed down and moved off to our east. The upstream fetch is very easterly, and North Shore loves that. Drilling down, you can see again, it's been beautiful, although it's been, probably 80% cloud cover for most spots. Highs are going to be about 82, lows about 69, 70 degrees over the course of the next week. You can clearly see we're very, very dry. There's some showers off to the east and southeast of the Big Island. But all in all, it's been a very stable air mass over Hawaii. The trade wind pattern is going to stick around for a while with minor variations. I'll jump up to the upper region to show you the water vapor loops. Brown area showing the dry, sinking air. This is the cause here on the upper levels of the cirrus where they play around. And these are all associated, of course, with that big low bringing the big waves. Late Saturday into Sunday, Monday, and lasting into Tuesday just before that next big one on Wednesday. And we'll finish off with one more beautiful animation of the most significant event we'll see in the coming week. But there's more to come. And then down under, all those reds, we love them. And that's your local swell tracker. Thanks for sticking around here for my long-winded feature, and we'll be back next weekend. Aloha.